I'm Sarah Martin. I'm a lecturer in sports therapy and rehabilitation and the programme leader for sports rehab. Marge on e-learning team are constantly coming up with loads of different creative ideas and things that they think are going to be beneficial to us in the classroom, and one of the things that came up was this Padlet programme, and I thought, let's give it a go. The reason I chose Padlet is because it's really colourful, it's bright, the students can really interact as well, and when we're in a classroom they've got their smartphone devices, they've got laptops, iPads, etc. all with them, and it means that they can actually put or input into the session from their devices. We can make it nice and colourful, we can collate their ideas. It allows them to access it at any time, so we can constantly keep it up and running as a sort of ongoing device and a learning tool. The students, like I say, can put in pictures, they can put in audio clippings, they can put in screenshots, they can put in text, and it allows me to interact with them. We can move stuff around and make it look really nice and appealing. So within the lesson where I actually used Padlet in the classroom, it was pretty much along the style of a PowerPoint session. It enabled me then to construct a series of questions and a series of ideas. I gave the students some tasks to do and I colour-coded them, so anything that was in red on the Padlet meant that they had a task to be doing in the classroom on the computers at the time. Padlet itself, it enabled me to actually give them some visual ideas on how they can complete the task if they weren't sure as well. So I colour-coded those in green, and it enabled me prior to the session to be able to do a screencast within Padlet of actually how they used Excel to get to the answer that they were required to for the task. So it worked really nicely. The students could actually do a print screen from Padlet again of their screen as well, so when they were creating graphs within it, they could print screen it, they could post it to the Padlet for their colleagues to see, for me to see, for me to give them feedback, and they could look at each other's ideas, share good practice, give each other some hints and tips on how they could improve as well. So actually it works really nicely as an interaction. It does give those visuals, and I think it gives them something then that they can take away with. The other benefit of using it in the classroom was that for something like a statistics task, which I used it for, it meant that students could work at their own pace as well. So those that were quick and were competent with Excel and they were familiar with the terms, they could get through it quickly. They didn't necessarily need to be accessing the help, but those students then that needed a bit more help and support and some tutorials, it meant that I could do screen captures and I could address those queries to them. And I think with any digital technologies, the students are sat with their heads down a lot of the time, so they are engrossed in their mobile phones, in their laptops. So we do lose that personalisation. But I used it in a separate session as a revision tool as well, and actually the students creatively coming up and brainstorming their ideas as a group, coming up with some concepts together and then posting it to the Padlet. It did enable at a smaller level a lot of communication, a lot of interaction with each other. They came up with their ideas and posted it up to the Padlet, and it meant then as a whole group we could then put devices down and actually have a conversation surrounding the findings, the thoughts. So it does work really nicely in that sense. I think some students who are less competent or less confident with using the technology, it took them a little bit of time to get used to it. The structure, it's fairly sequential, and I think a lot of them, if they were trying to get their heads around what the Padlet looked like, it did take a bit of time. But actually the feedback that I've got from the students has been really good, that it is simplistic. It does an awful lot, but it's really clear to the students on their screen where it is that they can click, where they can start to add their ideas. And as a tutor, I constantly oversee the Padlets that they're designing, and it means that I can rearrange them and put them in a logical order once the students have submitted. So really, actually, there's not a great deal of disadvantages. One of the nice things is that we can embed it into Moodle once the Padlet's finished as well, so it gives them a really nice sort of reusable learning tool. We can also get the students to access it via QR code reader, so they haven't necessarily got to type in the lengthy browser, so it's really easy for them to be able to find. The main feedback really was that they liked it to be able to work at their own pace. The problems we had if they were working from their laptops was that it did tend to be quite small on the screen with the task that I was doing, but there's adjustments that we can make. We can change the sort of ideas and how we actually get them to do that task. But the feedback is really welcoming. The students liked it. They've now got a creative designers behind me where they can use this for their revision. So this is a brainstorming in preparation for a written exam. And they've got that, they can keep coming back to it rather than going through all of their notes for the whole semester as well. They've got it in one nice tidy place. And they've got ideas from other people as well, so other things to think about for their exams. As I said, they can work at their own pace with it as well. So they can work on the Padlet of an evening, they can work on it during the day, they can work on it in lectures. If they're on a train, they can access it from their phone and they can engage with the Padlet, they can put comments on there and they can do audio recordings and pictures and things as well. So it's actually a really nice way of capturing everything that they're doing. So that's the main feedback really, is they like to take home the finished product and they can obviously work at their own pace.